Okay, jumping on to the next one. And this story right here is is just growing and growing. At the end of the day, so we spoke earlier in the week, or last week, as a matter of fact, about the MPD assistant chief and his residency status. There was a story that was released saying that he's a voting member of the Fulton County, Georgia community, but he's been working here in Memphis since 2021. So it's been a big deal. To recap the last time we spoke on this, what skin do you have in the game here in Memphis? If you're not committed and invested in this community, how do we know that the decisions that you're making have the Memphis community's best interest in mind? So, and I understand that he came from Fulton County. He worked with the Fulton County Sheriff's Department, and he most likely came with a lot of experience. I understand that. He came here for a reason. So let's take a look at the story, because this story is a follow-up and says Memphis officials react to MPD Assistant Chief Sean Jones residency scandal. Former patrolman Mike Williams says morale is at an all-time low due to residency scandals surrounding Assistant MPD Chief Sean Jones. Okay, so there's been a fallout after news broke out that the Memphis Police Department's second in command lives in Georgia. ABC 24 first reported about the questions surrounding the legal residence of Assistant Police Chief Sean Jones on Tuesday. Jones has voted 3 times in Georgia since becoming the MPD's assistant chief, including the December 6, 2022 general special election runoff, March 12th, 2024, the presidential primary, and May 21st, 2024, in the Georgia general primary election. All 3 times, Jones voted early and in person. Former patrolman Mike Williams, who spent 10 years as head of the Memphis Police Association before stepping down in 2020, said that if it's true that Assistant Chief Jones is not a full-time Tennessee resident, he needs to be held accountable. He also sees this as a fireable offense. If that was an officer, they would hold him accountable, and Sean Jones should be held accountable as well, Williams said. It is unclear if Jones rents a property in Memphis, as rental records are not publicly available. According to Tennessee voting records, Jones is also not registered to vote in the state of Tennessee. We attempted to contact City Councilman J.B. Smiley and all other council members for comment, but the only member that got back to us was Councilman Jerry Green. I'm curious to know when Chief Davis knew or when Mayor Young knew, she said. Councilwoman Green told ABC 24 this latest revelation is just another piece of a problematic puzzle with Chief Davis, who brought Jones into MPD after working with him in Atlanta. Is he paying taxes in Georgia? That's another issue. Is he paying taxes in Tennessee? Williams asked. Morale is already down on the police department, and from a lot of individuals I talked to, a lot of it is attributed to Sean Jones. I think that's one of the asks that the Memphis Police Association had to the mayor. In fact, if you're going to retain Chief Davis, we want you to get rid of Sean Jones because he is a stain at this time. And just not to stop there, I want to go ahead and jump into another article. The previous one, the one that was just read, was from ABC 24. This one right here is from WREG. So city leaders strike back at part-time police official with Georgia address. The Memphis Police Department Assistant Police Chief Sean Jones is being labeled as a part-time crime fighter by some city council members. Memphis Police confirmed on Tuesday that Jones, an MPD employee since September 2021, is actually a resident of the state of Georgia. Council Chairman J.B. Smiley Jr. says his constituents aren't happy. Assistant Memphis Police Chief lives in Georgia, MPD. I think it's a bit concerning, Smiley said. I received a lot of text messages from people from all different parts of life, different sectors, different communities concerned about whether he's working remotely. Now, that would be a huge problem. Councilwoman Jerry Green says she's got a problem with him living in Georgia and working in Memphis, apparently part-time. I am concerned that the number 2 cop would not be able to be immediately available, and I am not sure whether he's spending weekends in Atlanta or other times during the week. Jones served with interim police chief C.J. Davis in Atlanta and came to Memphis with her after she was appointed chief in 2021. He makes nearly $180,000 a year. WREG reached out to MPD and Mayor Paul Young about Jones' residency. An email from the mayor's office says Sean Jones' primary residence is still in the state of Georgia. Tennessee state law does not permit restrictions on the residency of first responders. That's word for word the same response we received from MPD the day before, referencing a state law adopted in 2022. Later, a city official followed up stating, our residency requirement reflects state law. We do not feel that the city of Memphis needs to revisit our policy. In 2022, the Tennessee General Assembly passed a state law that put into place a ban on local residency requirements for first responders. According to department policy, MPD personnel can live within 2 hours of Shelby County, but whether that includes Georgia, more than 6 hours away by car, is unclear. We should not be paying a part-time employee to make $108,000. He lives in Georgia. He can't report to work. I think that's what's being lost in this. I think that's what's being lost in this. I would like an answer as to whether they knew that this where his residency was when they hired him. If there were some expectation that he would establish a full-time residency within the confined limits of the policy. The situation by a high-ranking officer brings MPD residency requirements into question. It has not been violated by a rank and file officer. It's not violated by mid-management. It's violated by the second most powerful police officer that we have. It said it twice. And I think that they have some tough decisions to make, Smiley said. In a city plagued with by crime, some council members say Assistant Chief Jones should either live in Memphis full-time or consider resigning his position. We're leading the nation, especially around our homicide rate and solve rate, and I want to see those things improve. And I think the way to do that is have the best of the best around you at all times, Green said. And I want to say that I saw a story as well saying that Assistant Chief Sean Jones did rent in the city, but I don't know exactly where that is right now. So okay. So yeah, look, we have a assistant chief, Sean Jones, with the state that the city is currently in terms of crime. There shouldn't be any controversy at the top of the Memphis Police Department and their leadership. Again, if he's not a resident of Tennessee, if he's not a resident of Memphis, how invested are you? Was this just a favor? Now, I'll say, I don't know whether or not they may have the fact that Councilwoman Green said a part-time officer, or work remotely. I honestly hope that's not the case. If they're working remotely, then that's not good. We need somebody that's going to be here in the Memphis area, committed to his job. That's a decision. Okay. And again, having just a statement, because I previously stated it just needs to be communicated. If there's a question that's been raised about his residency, which is basically raising the question of how committed and invested he is, giving a standard blurb saying that the state of Tennessee has passed a law that bans residency requirements, that's not good to hold that line with this community in this current environment and state. We need to have clear things, need to be over communicated. The reason why this issue was brought up in the first place is because the state of the crime in the city right now. So if we're not doing well as far as homicide and solve rates, or we're last in the country, or the homicides period occurring is high, they're looking into what can be the reason why this is happening. What is the breakdown in the Memphis Police Department? A rank and file might hold some of the issue, be some of the issue, but more than likely, bigger than that, leadership is where everything always starts. That's the reason why you see people to say the buck stops here and all the rest of those words, those key words. Because if you're in a position of leadership, you have to, one, set the example and walk whatever it is that you're talking. So you can't come out with a standard line saying that this is the law. You have to have people that are committed to the city. It needs to be clearly stated by Sean Jones and CJ Davis. This wasn't a hookup type of situation where I gave him a job because we previously worked together in the Fulton County area. We need to know how Sean Jones views Memphis, why he's not a resident in Memphis, and how committed he is to the city. And it needs to be made to the public. That's where it starts. And then ultimately going into, addressing the crime and other issues that are going on here, and plans that are put into place are actually executed and results are seen from it. But right now, if your leadership is in disarray, everything else will be in disarray as well. And sending out a standard line isn't going to cover that. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable in any situation. So if the administration, the mayor's office, is fully behind Memphis Police Department's police chief and assistant police chief, then they could speak to it, directly to it. Or, as everybody would probably like to hear from the horse's mouth, we'd like to hear either CJ Davis address it or Assistant Chief Sean Jones. But if morale's low in rank and file, and I don't know why it would be low necessarily because of Sean Jones specifically, and I don't know why it was said that Sean Jones is a stain on the police department at this time, but those are strong words, and that needs to be addressed. I'm sure at some point there's going to be an interview that takes place, and they'll expound on that whole thought process and let everybody else know. But it starts at the top. I can tell you that much without a fact. If we don't do something about it, it's going to continue to be status quo when it is what it currently is right now. Yeah, we need more answers on this one, so we'll definitely follow up and see what's going on. Okay, jumping into the next story. So obviously we watched the Memphis City Council meeting, and we've heard about the tax rate increase, the solid waste fee increase, and the vehicle registration tax increase. So Memphis residents are getting hit with the increase in fees all the way around. Now, we will eventually, hopefully, see the results of that increase. It was the ask of the mayor, and it's here. This is the reality. So we're jumping into a story about that, and citizens, people in the community are speaking to it. Let's take a look at this Action News 5 clip, and then we'll jump into the actual story.
Time to talk money. You got to spend it even if you don't have it. July 1st not only marks the start of this month, it also marks the start of local tax increases. Memphis residents should start seeing the impacts of budget decisions soon. Action News 5's Amani Williams talked to residents about these increases that they're preparing for, Amani, that will certainly hit some of their pockets.
Hey, Joy, with prices of everyday items increasing like groceries and car insurance, adding anything extra to the budget can get overwhelming. Well, Memphians say they are struggling to keep up, especially as local taxes and fees increase.
We struggling. We struggling. We struggling.
That's how many Memphians are feeling Monday as the first of the month and new tax increases roll in.
At this point, you need to increase the wages because everything is going up except the wages.
Tuesday, the Memphis City Council approved a new budget for the city. It included 3 items that will directly impact Memphians. A 49-cent property tax rate increase that moves the tax rate from $2.71 to $3.20. An increase in the solid waste fee by $12. And a $30 increase in the city's fee for vehicle registration renewal on passenger vehicles. I spoke with residents walking in and out of the Shelby County Clerk's office.
I don't mean no harm, but the 139 is already, that's high. With them in there saying it's supposed to increase, I don't know, baby. I don't know. That's too much.
On top of the recent tax increases, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the price of food increased by just over 2% since last year. Food at home or groceries increased by 1%. Some Memphians said although budgeting is tough right now, they are trying to make it work.
100%. Everybody's got to budget differently. It's hard to survive out here nowadays.
Well, when I looked at residents' vehicle registration renewals today, Memphians were still only being charged $30. Now, I spoke with a city leader who said it is a process to get that change to $60 in the system, but it will happen soon. Live in studio, Imani Williams, Action News 5.
That's a huge increase from $30 to $60. That's exorbitant. And the amount of and you have to do the renewals yearly. So the amount of vehicles that are registered here in the Memphis area or in Shelby County, wow, that's wow. Wow. So yes, it's going to be a difficult. It's spreading it out, among all of the people in the Shelby County area. All of these tax, the solid waste increase, I believe, was $12 because they said that they didn't want to revisit this again next year. So it was supposed to be $5 and change, and they were going to have to do another increase next year. So they wanted to go ahead and raise it to the $12, which would ultimately, and one of the major bullet points was to give the solid waste employees a 5% increase in wages, which is a good thing. Okay. You have the vehicle registration, again, going from $30 to $60, doubling. And the wheel tax already went up not long ago. So I know that when I went to register a new vehicle, I think I paid I can't remember. I think it was like $220 or something like that. So now it's going to be $250. That's a big bump. And especially if I have to do that every single year. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but I would imagine, if not, the same exact is going to be close to it. It's a nice chunk of change. And then obviously property taxes going up as well. This is going to be an adjustment. It's going to take some time getting used to. My thing is obviously, yes, wages need to go up because a lot of jobs, they haven't increased wages to be lock in step with inflation. But I want to see the results for what's being pulled out. So as the months go along and we start to see what this money is ultimately allocated to and it's in the budget what they are planning on doing with the money, but the actual action of it will be interesting. And remember, there was a deficit when it came to, because the amount of money that was being pulled from the wheel tax was, or the extra amount of money that was being pulled for the wheel tax was going to go to the new Regional 1 medical center. So I'm wondering whether or not, and there was a deficit when they did the audit. It wasn't being pulled out, or it was, or that was a whole mess. I'm wondering whether or not this is to fill in some of the deficit that was already existing because books weren't kept properly, or that amount of money wasn't charged to everyone when it should have been. I don't know the full extent of that situation, so I won't form an opinion necessarily on that specifically, but I just wonder whether or not this money is to backfill some of that. And so this is just going to take a little bit of trust on the part of the community to the new administration. They came in with the plan. They're going through the process of implementing that plan. We'll feel the effects of having to pay more money in property tax, in solid waste, and in vehicle registration tax. MLG&W already requested an increase as well, a percentage, where we're already being hit hard on those bills. So across the board, everybody is being hit. So something has to give. Something needs to be produced from these funds. We'll continue to dig more into this, see where those pots of money go, and obviously hold account to the people that are, if necessary, ask the questions and hold account to the people that are in those leadership positions to make sure that what we say is going to happen actually happens, and we'll move forward from there. But this is all in the course of, business for the city. The business is the city is attempting to grow, attempting to raise wages for city employees, putting that money into the communities and build new buildings and improving the communities that we're currently living in. I have a good feeling about the outlook of Memphis. I feel like we need to continue to raise our voice and discuss the things that are going on, pay attention to what's out there happening, and being actively involved. If we want things to get better, that's exactly what we're going to have to do. We have to put eyes on it. We can't put our head in the sand and act like it's not. And we're going to come out on the other side good. I feel like Memphis has a good outlook. We just need to address the things that need to be addressed. I think people will be coming here, businesses, and, obviously the population of the city will go back up. There's just some things that need to be addressed, and the perception of the city needs to be improved throughout the country, throughout the state, even in our community. I think if we can get there, if we can improve the perception of the city, the thought that going to Memphis is a dangerous thing, man, I think, we're here for a reason. And I think as a community, we can make it happen. So, hey, thank you for joining me again. Neil Lewis, Direction Forward Memphis. You can reach me directly at Direction Forward Memphis, all one word, at gmail.com, or in the comments of the video. Please like, subscribe, comment to the videos, and I just appreciate your presence and your interaction. And we're trying to do something different. I am slowly but consistently improving these videos and trying to make them more coherent and make sure that it all fits together so it can be of entertainment and information to you. So enjoy the rest of your day, and it's a good day to be a Memphian. And once again, be impactful.